everybody, it's Allison Rimland with Thrive Couple and Family Counseling Services and my good friend
Laura Cross with Individual and Relationship Therapy Center.
And we are on a high from our amazing day, learning from the very talented, the very educated, the very brilliant, the very sex positive Emily Nagoski. It was such a cool day. And we learned so much. So we thought we'd hop on Facebook Live to tell you all our favorite nuggets while they're fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
So, Laura.
Yes.
What was your favorite part from today?
It's hard to pick just one. She has so many really important messages, and I think one thing that can resonate with everybody listening here and so many of the couples that we see in our practices is about body image and about how we relate to our body and how that can impact our sexual experiences with our partners. And she just is so consistent with the message that we are made up of all the same parts, just organized differently, and how we are all exactly what we are meant to be. And the more space that we can free up by having a healthier body, a relationship with our body, the more that space can be taken up with positive sexual experiences. So I think that's really important for us to pass that along.
And one of the things that I love about her book is that she repeats that phrase to remind us, because it's we're so trained to think the opposite about ourselves in our culture, and so it's so important to repeat that message. All the same parts organized in different ways. I love it.
Yeah, such a great message. So what about you? What was your takeaway?
One of my favorite things that I learned from Emily in both reading her book, Come As You Are, and certainly reinforced today, is that we all have these myths about what it means to have great sex in a relationship. And really what research has shown is that couples have great sex when they are good friends and when they prioritize sex. And that's it. That's it. That's the recipe for great sex. And it's really contrary to all the messages that were sent about your body has to look a certain way, you have to have sex a certain number of times in any given time period, you have to be doing adventurous things. All those things can be wonderful and positive ways to enjoy your sex life, but they certainly are not required for having great sex with your partner.
Yeah, I really appreciated when she talked about how the research shows that couples who have, who sustain a fulfilling sex life in their relationship over time have these traits of being great friends and prioritizing sex. And I think it comes down to things that we often don't pay enough attention to, of just keeping that friendship alive in the relationship, perhaps from getting so worried that the sexual connection might feel challenged, not realizing that by just really focusing again on the friendship and really making time for sex. People feel like, well, I shouldn't have to schedule it. It's like, oh gosh, how liberating it is to know that that's actually the key.
Yeah. Which brings us maybe to another one that we didn't even plan to talk about, which is that there's also in every body an accelerator system that gets us excited and interested in sex, and there's also a brake system that kind of makes us not be as interested in sex. And when couples can learn about how their body is organized, it really can unlock lots of pleasure in their relationship.
For sure. Yeah, it's a great analogy to think about the accelerator being those things that turn you on and the brakes being things that can turn you off, and how sometimes we're focusing on trying to be turned on by more things and not realizing that shifting that focus to what might be turning us off. It's a kind of a whole other way of looking at it. So she talks about that a lot too.
Turning off the brakes.
Turning the offs off.
Turning the offs off.
Yeah.
Lots of offs out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe the last thing that we wanted to share with you all, just because it's such a great way to think about sex, is that pleasure is the measure. So we have all these measuring sticks. I always tell couples that I work with, throw out your measuring sticks. Yeah. They're not serving you. When we put pleasure at the center of our measure for whether we're having an enjoyable sex life, it just takes all that pressure off us that those other kinds of messages can really do a number on us and disconnect us and make us feel not normal and not good. And really, if we can just focus for ourselves and for our partner, or partners on what is pleasurable to them, it makes a huge difference.
And it seems like such a basic concept when we think about it, right? That if it feels good, and to focus on what feels good, and to try to block out narratives and messages that we've been enduring for so much of our lives, it sounds so simple, and we know it's not. But just starting to embrace that concept and looking at your own relationship through that lens, and the things you've been using to measure your sexual relationship together, can open up opportunities to really to feel a stronger connection and a greater sense of self-acceptance in your sexuality and in your sexual pleasure. So love that. Pleasure is the measure. It was all over the talk today.
Oh my gosh, it was such a positive day.
Yay.
We were jumping up and down and saying
Literally.
body parts and talking about how people are beautiful, and
Yeah.
it was just a wonderful day. So hopefully you've been inspired by some of these ideas. We're actually going to hop on over to Laura's practices page in just a couple minutes and talk about our upcoming Hold Me Tight workshop.
That's right, where a lot of these concepts will continue to get interwoven into the workshop content.
For sure, for sure.
All right, everybody, see you over there.
Okay, bye.